Alright, so recently there was a massive revival of the Avatar franchise, and no, for the last time, I'm not talking about the Avatar with the blue people. That one's got some weird moments, and we don't talk about that. We're talking about Avatar The Last Airbender. You know, Aang, Sokka, the whole gang. But today I'm talking about Zuko specifically. Avatar had this massive revival because of it, coming back on Netflix, and for the people who had just bought it on DVD, kind of a bummer, and at least the people who have been torrenting it this whole time can now watch it legally instead of trying to get on sketchy websites. And since everyone's been stuck inside lately, we've all had a chance to relive how brilliant this show actually is. And I think you all agree with me that for a kids show, it is too good. So all the creative people on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram have gotten to work getting on that clickbait video, doing their covers of the Kalimba theme, or bringing up them crying over Uncle Iroh's theme for the 1000th time. People have also been talking about, how awesome Zuko's character arc is, which, granted, leads to my favorite part in the entire series, his fight against Azula. But there's one moment in that scene that no one's quite talking about, and it's this moment. You've heard it before, I know you have, because it's been pounded into your head since the very beginning of the series. It starts every episode, the Avatar theme. But this scene, it's been changed by just a few notes to fit a story. Zuko's story, his arc that's been crafted over 3 seasons and has come to a climax at this very moment. Now, it's only like a difference of 2 notes in the melody, but today we're going to look into why that is impactful on the entire series and how that musically tells the entire story of who Zuko is as a character. And to really understand this, we have to go to the very, very beginning when he first shows up on Avatar. Here we get a teeny taste of what we come to recognize as the Fire Nation's musical theme. Now, I could go over themes and motifs, but that could probably be an idea for a later episode. But when I say a theme or motif or melody, it's talking about a small musical idea that is associated or connected with a character or idea in the story that we're watching. So when Zuko is first seen on his ship with Iroh and this small little brass melody plays, immediately we start to connect brass and trumpets with the Fire Nation and Zuko. Later the theme plays again, but in its entire melody to signify the Fire Nation and Zuko. And here, Zuko's character is strongly tied to the Fire Nation, and in a way, he kind of represents this Fire Nation for the majority of the series. But after the first season, when Aang has his awesome battle with the Fire Nation ships in the Northern Water Tribe, Zuko and Iroh cut their ponytails off. And it's this moment when we start to understand where Zuko's journey is going. This is where he sets off to find out who he is, whether it's with the Fire Nation and his family, or with Avatar and the gang. A decision of good or evil. And for the rest of the season, we don't really hear the Fire Nation theme play along with Zuko and his character. Instead, the theme starts to play when Azula is on screen, along with her own theme that kind of establishes her craziness. This establishes a switch of the main villain in Avatar. For the entire first season, it was Zuko. And for the second season, it kind of becomes Azula. And those are kind of like sub-villains under, the overarching villain, which is the Fire Lord. So in the second season, we get a specific episode that zeroes in on who Zuko is, titled Zuko Alone. We start to see the struggle in Zuko's life, his backstory with his mom, his struggle and relationship with his sister, and how that really started to shape who he is as a character and give us a reason for all of his turmoil. And so in the moments where Zuko is questioning his stance on whether he's with the Fire Nation or something else, the theme plays, but it's incomplete. For example, the scene where Zuko stands up against some local bandits. This moment stands out especially after they taunt the locals about their son.
Someone ought to tell you your son's battalion got captured. You boys hear what the Fire Nation did with their last group of Earth Kingdom prisoners?
Dressed them up in Fire Nation uniforms and put them on the front line unarmed, way I heard it. Then they just watched.
Which, by the way, exactly references the reason for his scar and his turmoil with his father.
They'll be used as a distraction while we mount an attack from the rear. What better to use as bait than fresh meat?
You can't sacrifice an entire division like that. Those soldiers love and defend our nation. How can you betray them?
Zuko was right, you see. But it was not his place to speak out, and there were dire consequences.
The reason he had his scar is because he couldn't sit there while a general sent in his first wave of fresh meat to get slaughtered on the field. So when Zuko uses firebending to defeat the bandits, the theme reverts back to its strong and complete version. This signifies that he hasn't completely cut ties with the Fire Nation just yet. You see hints, a glimmer in his eye of him changing his mind, but this isn't where he makes that decision yet. This is the beginning of storytelling, not just in the story in itself, but in the music. This back and forth between the Fire Nation theme and it turning into something else is where we get the struggle in Zuko's character. And as a TV series, this is incredibly important because it establishes consistency with the story. The music further enhances the story points, and it does so without the audience really knowing that it's doing it. The main turning point for Zuko's character is in the middle of Season 2, where he lets Appa free from Lake Laogai, after which he goes through a spiritual sickness, which in Iroh's words,
You should know this is not a natural sickness, but that shouldn't stop you from enjoying tea.
What's happening?
Your critical decision. What you did beneath that lake. It was in such conflict with your image of yourself that you are now at war within your own mind and body.
What's that mean?
This is portrayed in the music by the Blue Spirit theme playing while Zuko is talking with Iroh. Now, we actually got acquainted with the Blue Spirit theme in the very first season when he actually saves Aang from being captured. An interesting thing about the Blue Spirit is that when Zuko puts on this mask, he is connected to no one, not even the Fire Nation. So it allows him to make decisions for himself and not be manipulated by his relationship with his family or his duty to regain his honor and capture the Avatar. So musically speaking, the theme of the Blue Spirit signifies a sort of in-between state of Zuko's not connected to anyone. He is neither good nor bad. He is himself. So it makes perfect sense to play the Blue Spirit theme as Zuko starts to cut ties with the Fire Nation. And as he's accepted back into the Fire Nation, that signifies that he's struggling.
During the meeting, I was the perfect prince. The son my father wanted. But I wasn't me.
So when he decides that it's not what he wanted, he has this big change of plans and decides to join the Avatar. And it's actually kind of funny because when Zuko first approaches Team Avatar to try and join them, this very dramatic version of the Fire Nation theme plays and ends in kind of a comedic way.
Hello, Zuko here.
But then later in that episode, we start to hear strings play as he gets sincere with them. And it's this specific harmony in the string section that it musically almost hints towards the Avatar theme, but that's only a glimpse of it.
I thought I had lost my honor and that somehow my father could return it to me. But I know now that no one can give you your honor. It's something you earn for yourself by choosing to do what's right. All I want now is to play my part in ending this war. And I know my destiny is to help you restore balance to the world. I'm sorry for what I did to you. It was an accident. Fire can be dangerous and wild. So as a firebender, I need to be more careful and control my bending so I don't hurt people unintentionally.
I think you are supposed to be my firebending teacher. When I first tried to learn firebending, I burned Katara.
And for the rest of Zuko's time with Team Avatar, a lot of it has to do with Sokka, Aang, or Katara solving their problems in their own character arcs. We do get a small battle between Azula and Zuko, but it's honestly accompanied by some rather generic fight music. It isn't until the very last episode that we see the musical and visual end of Zuko's story, his fight with Azula. And this is where my main point comes in. I just had to explain some of Zuko's backstory to make sense of it. In this final scene, we hear music we've never heard before in the entire series, and I'll let it speak for itself. And this scene is just truly incredible in how they break it down to the visuals, the color, the animation, the way Zuko is fighting against his sister, using different styles of bending, just like Uncle Iroh taught him. And if you're keen enough and are paying attention to these fine details, it is just beautiful storytelling. And the music is just brilliant in how it combines this percussion line that we get with Agni Kai and the Fire Nation, but also this striking string line that kind of signifies the Avatar and his theme and heroism. And then it all comes to a close when Zuko makes his big sacrifice for Katara. And in that moment, we hear one single melodic variation of the Avatar theme. Whenever we've heard the Avatar theme play before, Aang has been performing some grandiose act of heroism, maintaining the balance of the world. Which is also why it plays in the intro when Katara says, "And I believe Aang can save the world." And I mean, heck, it even plays in The Legend of Korra. This theme is played everywhere. So when this variation of this really, really defining theme plays in this moment, it signifies Zuko being heroic in his own way, playing his own part in maintaining the balance of the world. It acts as a final demonstration of who he has become over the course of the entire show. And if you were really, really paying attention, a small bit of this Avatar theme even plays when Iroh says Zuko will have to claim the Fire Nation throne.
It has to be you, Prince Zuko.
Unquestionable honor? But I've made so many mistakes.
Yes, you have. You struggled, you suffered. But you have always followed your own path. You restored your own honor. And only you can restore the honor of the Fire Nation.
I'll try, Uncle.
Zuko has experienced both sides of this grand story, the good and the bad. So it makes perfect sense then that in the music, it is a combination of the strong string line that we hear from the Avatar and the strong percussion of the Fire Nation. Because Zuko understands and has seen firsthand what the Fire Nation is doing. And after dealing with it for so long, he understands why it needs to come to an end. He struggled with shame and having to reclaim his honor for something that honestly he didn't even do anything wrong for. And that journey of redeeming himself of what he thought was his biggest mistake, coming to realize that it set him on the path towards good, towards his destiny. That is a life lesson that is snuck into a kid's show. And let alone for the music of the show to then follow it and portray the same themes of good and evil, and Zuko being a combination of them both, makes the music alongside with the show even better. It's all consistent, it's all telling the same story, and that really drives home the themes and the meaning behind it all. Now I could go on this for days with other stories and other movies, but that can be for another video. So for now, I'll wrap it up. Thank you for listening to me rant on this little theme from Avatar. I put a lot of work into this, and I'm really curious to see how people react to it, if they enjoyed it, if you've listened for this long, or if you stopped halfway through. If you stayed for the whole thing, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if I should make more of these. I have a ton of movies. I just watched the movie Tenet. I could go on for days about that movie and the consistency and music things that happened in it that I agree with and disagree with. So if you'd like to see more, leave a comment, subscribe, tell your friends about it, post on Instagram. That lets me know if I should keep making more or if I should just continue doing this by myself and just enjoying the music as it is. But that's it for me today. Thank you. Have a great one. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.